Tactikon 2, a mobile strategy turn-based game that I used to play as a child back in 2012. Recently I tried to install the game again and play it. Unfortunately, to the realization that this game is no longer available on the Google Play Store. So naturally I decided to root around the internet to find a dodgy version of it. There are a few applications that are available to be downloaded, so I got one of them, tried installing, which it worked. Then when I went to launch the game, I got a message where this game is not compatible with my current Android version. Quite confused and baffled, I went back to Google. Then I got a very quick realization that it's most likely because the game was written for a 32-bit system. Nowadays all Android phones run 64, so I wouldn't be able to play the game in its current state. After further rooting around on the internet, I found out the developer's website, and he has his own blog. One of the blogs was talking about Tactikon, a quick overview of what went well, what didn't go so well, different statistics with the first game having over 36,000 downloads, and the second game, from what I remember, had over 50,000. Reading on, I saw the heading, the future, so quite interested. I read it. I still think there's a market for something like this, but I was never quite able to attract enough players to make it worthwhile. I started on Tactikon 3 a while ago, but honestly the minimum level for any new game in the mobile market these days is so high that I don't think I'd be able to produce it in a reasonable time. Much higher standards expected in art, sound and solid gameplay loop. Maybe one day. To which I strongly disagree to that statement. I think games with simple pixel art have their own charm, and there is a market for more simple games. However, they have to be fun. So with that, I decided to write an email to the developer, and I was not happy with the response, but this is what I said. Hello, I just wanted to politely ask if you're planning on returning to Tactikon 3 with the recent extreme developments in AI and its integration into IDEs. I thought you might have picked up programming games again. I'm looking forward to your reply. Warm regards. To which he responded, Hi. Nope. Sorry. Nothing is currently tempting me back to games dev. Cheers. Very disappointing answer, unfortunately. Being a little bit disappointed with the email I've received from the developer, I decided to go back to Google and see if there's anything else about Tactikon. And I was very happy to see that the developer had actually dumped all the source game files on GitHub. Unfortunately, I'm not too smart to read Java and fix it up myself. However, I was quite happy to search the games folders and find that all the PNGs are dropped into GitHub as well. However, it was still quite nice to root around the game-based folders and look at the different classes that were created to make this beautiful artwork. I was quite delighted also to manage to find the assets PNG folder of all the sprites. So that means I could also find all the grass tiles, mountain tiles, and I could use that somewhere. I don't plan to directly steal the art style and put into perhaps my own little game. However, I am working on Unity, trying to recreate something similar to Tactikon. And I'm trying to also improve on the original developers who, like he said himself, that he was unable to attract enough attention to make it worthwhile. That's why I'm turning over to YouTube and hopefully gain a bit of support here. For now I have a very simple tile map with a unit that spawns in. I didn't know that, but this tile map is only a visual representation. In the back you actually need to build a dictionary and put in all the individual tiles. So far the game has very minimal functionality, which I can select the unit and tells me where the unit is and that I have selected it. The unit and selection system can seem quite simple, however the unit has a bit more going on in the background, where I've created a public class of a unit data. So basically this is the structure blueprint of what each unit has. You can see more simpler items like the move range, the attack range, its max health. I've also created a few enumerators, which will tell me about the unit state, so if it's idled or if it just finished its turn. Going down further, I also broke down the unit into different types. So we'll have the foot, vehicle, tank, plane, and boat type. And then these unit types will break down its subtypes. So foot will have an infantry unit, sniper, RPG, vehicle, there'll be also more vehicles, tanks, there'll be more tanks. This is the main thing that I've been missing from Tactikon. I really wish they added more units, different types, so it would make the gameplay a bit more interesting. I have also created a unit database class, so basically when a factory is trying to build a unit, it has a database it can look into. So let's say the factory is calling a foot type unit, searches into the subtype, and let's say we want infantry. It'll then get the information required to build this infantry, so we know the max health of it, the current health it spawns in, its move range, attack range, and attack power, which is a quite robust system. It allows me to add in more items and more information to each unit by just looking at one unit database. So I will be using a lot of object instantiation. I've never really fully understand classes and its fields as well as methods that can sit inside of a class. However, after reading more carefully about it, I've discovered that a lot more functionality can be built. Before I used to blindly follow tutorials on how to program games, but now understanding that you can stick classes within classes to build quite complex systems and define the behavior of an object that will be later instantiated with the information from that class is a quite powerful tool. Anyways, this is a quick overview of my little project that I'm looking forward to start working on. So if you have any suggestions or ideas, or perhaps want to start a conversation in the comment section, you're more than welcome. And if you spot any issues in coding, or any errors or bad practices, I'm more than happy to listen to.